fix it in post. Hey, everybody. This is Bob, and I'm joined with
me, Leanne Linsky.
Leanne Linsky from plausible.com, of course.
And I thought you were going to say we're joined at the hip or something.
No, we're
like Siamese cats.
We're joined at the noggin here today to talk about all this kind of stuff. But we're going to talk about being the best guest, which is really hard to say. After I wrote it, I thought this is a really good title. And now that I'm saying it, I'm rethinking all of this. Best guest is really, it's almost a tongue twister just in the two words.
It is best guest.
Best guest.
It's almost like best guest.
Yeah. Or I want to break out into song and be our guest, but it's not about that. It's about being the best guest. So I just happened to notice recently, I'm like, gosh, Leanne's on a lot of other shows talking about stuff. And I go, you know what? I bet she knows what it takes to be the best guest.
Yes, because not only have I been on a lot of shows, you've been on a lot of shows, and we seem to follow each other. If you're on a podcast, I'm like, I got to get on that podcast.
Yeah, right. We're just copying each other's moves.
Therefore, I think we're both the best guest.
Oh, well, hey, that's awful sweet.
Yeah.
Did I mention how sweet Leanne Linsky is? You know, she's from the suburbs of Chicago in what, Waukegan?
Yes, in Waukegan.
Yeah, from Waukegan. So one day you can stop by her childhood home and take a tour.
Yeah, good luck.
But not today. Don't do it today.
That's a whole nother episode.
So the idea of being a guest on these shows is to obviously to see what they're doing, but to tell them what you're doing.
Yes. And actually have a conversation.
Yeah. And exactly. A conversational thing. So how long, well, first of all, how long have you been being the best guest or even a guest for that matter?
Well, I feel like I've been guesting most of my life on everything. But being the best guest, ever since people were like, be the best you, be the most authentic you. Mm-hmm. I don't know how else I would be, but yeah, I think especially since signing up for Podmatch.
Okay. So Podmatch was the impetus? Yeah. Impetus for your journey would be Podmatch.
Yes, I think that was my moment of when I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be a guest. And then that happened. And I signed up. You just
saw it and you're like, you know what? I could be one of them.
I could be a guest. That seems doable to me. That seems a realistic goal, is to be a guest. And then because they have the leaderboard of how you rank as a guest.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm like, I have to be in the top 10. So,
that's tough.
I did it though. My first few months on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
I gave up real early. I'm like, there's no way. I'm not.
Like, I don't need to be the best.
Yeah. I don't need to be on the leaderboard. I always, every time, maybe it's just the pessimist in me, but I always think those leaderboards are rigged. Every time I'm like, why? What is this? Who are these people? I never even heard of them, and they're on the top of the leaderboard.
Oh no, I actually think that one's pretty accurate.
You think so?
I do, and the reason is because I looked and I researched. I was like, who are these top performers, and what are they doing? And when I looked at who the top hosts are and everything, those hosts are actually they're booking people daily and they're releasing episodes. Like, they're doing a lot. So I believe that is a pretty legit leaderboard. Also, I was on it. So it validates everything I think about myself.
It's obviously, this sounds like a Trump answer. It's obviously real because I was on it.
The infamous put me on the leaderboard.
They put me on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Well, see, now I hadn't even thought about that. To be honest with you, did look at the leaderboard for a little while, but yeah, I was not in hopes of being on it just because I don't. I'm not a guest as much as you are, apparently, even though we seem to be following each other.
Well, it's also so we look at like how they rank it, and this ties kind of into our conversation of being the best. And I think it's like the time it takes to respond to someone's messages when they're trying to book you. So that plays into it. If you've taken, so the sooner you respond to people, like their wait time is shortened. So I think that's a benefit. And I think that's important as being a guest, is responding to emails in a reasonable amount of time. I mean, it doesn't have to be that second, because if you're in the midst of doing something else, like someone else's podcast, you should not be multitasking. But I think within a day is a reasonable amount of time, maybe 2 business days. And then the other, because then you're not leaving someone hanging, if they're asking a conversation. But what I really like is everything is pretty automated. So, being a good guest is providing the host with the information they've requested completely, like read what they need in order to make it a good guesting experience, if you will, so that they can be fully prepared. And I think that also being a good guest required, like, I spend a little bit of time, I research who my host is. I click on the links and like, what are they doing on social media? What are they typically talking about? Listen to a couple episodes of their podcast, so I know the tone and what kind of guest they're looking for. And I usually do that before I even apply to be a guest on a podcast or submit myself. Like, is this a good fit for me? Because if it's about fixing cars, they probably don't want me as a guest, and their listeners probably don't really want to hear from me, because
I have been on so many real estate podcasts, and I didn't know what to say because I don't know anything about real estate. Oh,
have you really? They had
no.
I was like, who's putting you on a real? That's amazing.
I feel like I do the exact opposite of what you do. I always get on there and I go, "What's your name again?
Who are you?
What are we doing?
Why did you call me? Why did you ring me up on this?
I had this on my calendar. I don't remember anything about it. See, I feel bad now. You are the best guest. Goodness gracious. I'm just like, I say, oh, look, it says they want somebody who's humorous. Okay, I'll go there and then I'll try to do something.
Well, it's funny. Sometimes I listen to other people on someone's podcast, like they'll share, and I'm like, clearly the person's not even listening to the host. Like, the host, it's like has a list, like has been very prepared. Like, you can tell when a host is like, anyway, back to the regularly scheduled programming. And the person's like, waka, 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 going off on a tangent, So I try to pay attention. Like, does this, like, what's the host format? Like, so I'm not like overrunning their show.
It's too funny. Oh my God. I really need to pay attention here. This is what I do. I do it every time. I'm like, let's talk about Katy Perry going to space. They're like, this is not about that, Bob, you knucklehead. We're the anti-Amazon podcast. What the hell are we talking about that for? No, but that's interesting though. But you obviously put a lot of thought into this.
I do, and maybe I'm weird. My husband says
no.
But
I think you're probably better off for it.
Yeah, well, it's like, why are we doing this? Like, I have other things I could be doing: binge watching Netflix, eating Doritos. I don't know, but
oh my gosh, you mentioned that was my whole lunch today.
Was it really?
Yeah, I watched Netflix and ate Doritos.
What did you watch on Netflix?
I Think You Should Leave. That was the name of the show.
Okay, I'm out. Bye. I don't know what that's about.
It's a sketch comedy show. I think it's older. I think it's a few years old, but I just heard about it and I thought, oh, I'll check out an episode.
I should watch that.
It's kind of funny, but but I did eat Doritos, which really? I just thought, wow, how could she even know this? I thought I was going to have to go look for people in the woods out behind my house now.
Well, first of all, yes, you do have to go look for people in the woods behind your house, because what are they doing there?
Well,
also, I don't know. I don't even eat
Doritos.
Doritos aren't even on my radar anymore at this age.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Well, good. Yeah. Good for you. I had half a bag, I think. Gosh.
Did you wash your hands, or did you just like wipe them off on your?
I found a convenient animal in my house and just wiped my hands on them.
Oh, very good. That's smart. That's good. And then they can just lick it for later.
Then they'll have it later. Right. It's a whole pyramid we got going here.
That's a food chain.
It's food chain. Yeah. Just whoof. I'm like, come here, whistle, and they come over, and I just wipe my hands on them, and then later they'll lay down and lick it all off. So with no waste, it's almost like we're living, back on the land here.
It's very sustainable. Very sustainable.
Yeah, that orange dust, can't waste it. So how many shows do you think you've guested on? Would you, if you had to take a estimate of what that would be?
Well, I know because it counts them on that particular.
Oh, okay. So you pretty much just do Podmatch. You don't do any of the other ones?
Well, I do some of the outside. So I want to say, all in total in my life, probably over 100.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good for you. Do you feel like it's gotten easier?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it gets easier, and I think I get more comfortable with talking to people. It's kind of like improv. We get the same suggestions quite regularly,
right.
From the
Be
audience.
A duck. Yeah.
Right? It's like, I got, but I get a lot of the same questions from people, although the direction might go in a slightly different direction. It's usually about my journey from comedian to entrepreneur, my basic, where are you from, what's funny, things surrounding comedy. So it's by now I'm like prepped for those answers, and it's not like I have them memorized, but also it's my life. I just kind of know it. So
you better know it at this point. It's your life.
If someone's quizzing me, about my life, and I'm like, hey, can I get back to you on that? I don't know.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not licensed to speak on this. Let's go to the next topic.
I mean, when people ask, I think the only things I don't answer are things that are like very personal, or
have people ask you really personal questions? Seriously?
I think people have. I try to stay away from politics in general.
Yeah.
That's not, I don't know that it's personal. I just think that's unnecessary at this point. No one cares what I think. But I kind of stay away from that, because there's everything, like, that's just a gray matter. And so I talk about things I know that's within my control and what I'm working on. Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering how personal people ask. I mean, I'm curious about that, only because no one, well, let me see. People always ask, why are you a cat? But other than that, it doesn't get too much
people
more
ask
personal.
that to me too. Like, why are you a cat? And I'm like, I mean, I don't get, like, I don't know what would be too well, I know on some of the podcasts, I think you've been on some of them, where they ask random questions and it's more like a fun game or something.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
Don't ask me those kind of personal questions, because I'm probably not going to.
I answered them. See, again, you are way above me on all this. I just answered the question. I mean, it was a horrible question, and I answered it.
Really? What question was it?
Well, I can't, in polite company, I probably shouldn't say it. So
right. Yeah, don't. I don't know. I don't want to know. Like,
I'm your polite company. So yeah.
Okay.
It was, well, I agreed to it though.
Yeah.
I agreed to it before the question came out, but
and then you're like, why did I agree to that?
Yeah, why did I borrow that? Yeah, I guess I could have got out of it, but But how do you get out of things like that? How do you deflect? Do you just bring up something else, or do you dance around it, or?
I kind of go, I don't usually really talk about that, but I can tell you about, I kind of offer something else. It kind of makes me think of, like, when I was going through a divorce way back in the 90s, decades ago, and people
that's when divorces were harder, because you didn't have all the AI and
Yeah, I didn't have social media to like share everybody else's secrets, like how do I post all this TMI? But people would come up to you at work, or people I didn't know very well. Well, I knew people at work quite well, but people, that I didn't feel comfortable sharing would often come up and be like, "Oh, I heard you're going through divorce. What happened?" I'm like, first of all, who are you? You are the checker at Vons. Why are you asking me? So, stuff like that. Sometimes people, but I don't want to talk about it or something. So I would just like have fun remarks of like, like, well, it was meant to be. It was meant to be over. So because I don't want to be rude to somebody. I don't think people are asking inquisitive questions necessarily to be malicious or, invasive in any way. Most people I think are trying to be kind or showing concern of some sort. So I don't want to like put them in a place where like, you're a jerk. Like, why are you being so rude? Because sometimes people are like, oh, are you okay? What happened? And it's like, so what I find is humor is really helpful in deflecting that, like, because that lets people know I'm okay. That kind of answers the question like, oh, she's okay. There's not a big, and I can deflect by doing so. I don't know. I remember I used to have little funny things, like, in my back pocket about it, and I just make a joke and, or like, well, it just seems like the thing to do.
I got a coupon.
Right. Well, my attorney, after the second one, he's like, here's a punch card.
Get a coupon. And it was going to expire, so I might as well dump this one.
It's like, oh, I heard you had, well, everybody has their thing. Divorce is mine. So I'm a frequent flyer.
Oh my goodness.
But it kind of lets people, like, oh, okay, laugh. It eases the tension. It doesn't make them feel bad for asking the question. But then once they laugh, now I can be like, so, hey, how are things with you? And I can just change the topic
do you need any advice? I'll help you with your divorce.
Right. Yeah, I actually, during that time, I got a job.
You should see my record collection. It's fantastic.
Who who offered me a job was a wedding chapel on the Strip in Las Vegas.
Really?
I went on an interview I was like, I saw the ad. I'm like, well, that could be interesting, part-time. I was working full-time or, like what else could I do for fun? And I applied and they called me in for the interview and they're like, well, why do you think you would be good at this? I'm like, well, I already have a couple marriages under my belt and everybody said I'd throw a great party. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I know what brides want. I've been one a few times. So and they actually offered me a job.
Yeah. Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah.
You look like Elvis's sister. You can work. Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want a fun Elvis wedding? I mean, if I made bad decisions over and over again, I should certainly help others do the same.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, there you go. Well, maybe that's part of being the best guest is you just make bad decisions.
Yeah. Or yes, and someone else's, I support you in those. Yeah.
So then obviously, the big thing about being a guest on different shows is to promote yourself. I mean, it's really the late night talk show model. And then we've just adapted it now in the modern age of podcasting.
Yeah.
And you were in there to plug something.
Yes. Yeah. And I would love to plug more of the podcasts that I've been on. What I find challenging about doing so is I love when people share clips of it, but make it shareable so I can repost it or because if it's not shareable, it's really hard to reshare. Or if the host doesn't share something and it's like left to my own devices, or they're not tagged or they're not filed. Like it's got to be a collaboration of sorts for that to happen. Like I love it when people put together clips. Clips are really fun, right? And especially on Instagram. And you and I, we like and comment on each other's things often, which I appreciate, And you're really good at it. You're way better than I am.
I have an addiction. So
I love it. It's a good addiction to have.
Every time I see a heart, I have to touch it. So there you go.
Appropriately, of course.
Well,
Yeah. So depends.
They're all hanging out in public. It's not like they're,
Yeah.
the hearts, that is.
Oh, yes, this is true. So, I mean, if you're putting it out there, expect it to be touched. So
that's right. There you go.
if a little compression. But I think especially I love on Instagram where the host can invite you to be a collaborator, which means if instead of just tagging me, because on Instagram, if you tag me, I can't share it. But I love when the host adds me as a collaborator because then it also appears on my page and in my feed automatically. So it just, do you know how to do that?
Well, I know I click on the ones that you send me. You say, hey, but I'm generally pretty easily swayed. And so, I mean, I don't know that there's many people that do that, but I know I see okay, I'll collaborate. What the hey?
Right. Because it just saves you from extra work.
Me on there, right?
It's like, that just makes it a no-brainer. Yeah, I accept that. You just shared it and now it's on my feed and on my page and my friends can see it.
Now, I have never collaborated the other way, so I got to figure this out because I've never done that. So what's the steps? Do I have to give somebody named Jimmy some money, or what's the deal on this?
You don't have to pay to play. This is you go on an Instagram. So let's say you already posted it. You can, or if you haven't posted it, you scroll down to where it says tag someone, and instead of tag, they'll say tag. You click on it, and it'll say invite to collaborate or just tag. So if you can do either or. If you invite as a collaborator, then you type plausible in the search bar and it'll look for me, and then it'll send me an invite in my DM that will show the post. And then it will show the post in my DM and it will say, you've been invited to collaborate. And then I review it so I can see what you're posting. and then,
you actually look at it. I just hit the button again. I'm doing this all wrong. I just go, and then no wonder there's just constant pornography in my feed. I don't know what's going on.
That's what I'm tagging you or inviting you to collaborate with is pornography. So that makes
constant. Everybody's like, what's all this in here? I'm like, I don't know. I just keep collaborating with people.
And it's so funny because I'll invite people who are in my video, my reels or in my post to promote them. And I'll add them as a collaborator and they'll be like, I'm like, don't like it, share it. Like, what do you do? I mean, yes, like it. We want you to like it. But why am I promoting your whatever and you're not promoting your thing? That blows my mind all the time. So
now that we can agree on. I know we agree on a bunch of stuff, but anyway, that I want to emphasize because I never do understand that because it's not like it's any harder than another click.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just a different place on the screen.
It's so true. But I look like I'm promoting, like on Plausible. I promote the events that other people are hosting on our software. And because I just think that's a cool thing to do. But they're not promoting what they're doing. I'm like, I mean, is it a secret? I'm not sure. I'm like, I don't know if we should tell anybody about this event that's happening. Maybe they don't want anyone to come,
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's
I have to ponder that one a little bit. Yeah, I don't understand either. But that is interesting that how you say that is because there should be a kind of a reciprocity to all this where you even as a guest, you're guesting and then you're like, hey, because this is how you and I actually met is because I asked you to be a guest at one point and we were talking and you're like, hey, Bob, if you're doing we do a thing over here, you could come over here. And I'm like, well, let's go check it out. I mean, it's weird how easy that transition can be if people are just a little bit open. You just have to say it. And a lot of people don't say that. They don't say anything, right? They just they just kind of in their own world, I guess. But that's how you and I got to know each other a little bit as far as this stuff goes. Is you said, well, come on over to this side and you can see what it's all about. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, that sounds great.
And you did, and now you've
oh yeah,
you've made all kinds of friends on Plausible,
oh sure,
and
big doing people. I will tell you. I was going to mention this. This is one of my things here. I'm like, my gosh, these people that are over there are doing like great things. So Denise and Jenny were at the Comedy Store just recently, like within the last few days, maybe over the weekend, I guess, right?
Yeah, I just saw a couple of videos on social media. I'm like, hey, that's cool.
And they're on Plausible doing stuff. Denise Medina from Chicago was out in California, and I hope I'm saying her name right. I think it's Jenny. And had a thing at the Comedy Store where they were on stage together. And,
doing a roast battle.
Doing a roast battle. Yeah, I was just like, that is amazing to me.
Yeah,
being a small feline in the Midwest is not what I expected. So, and Pablo does stuff, and Pablo Lewin is another person that's doing a lot of stuff out in California as well. They live out there. So Denise visiting, I think. So, and Tim Mann as well. So and all of them. And my buddy Surej, doing all kinds of stuff. He's a fellow Midwesterner in Kansas City, but
which is funny because I always say, "How are things in Virginia?" And he's like, "Why am I not in Virginia?" I'm like, "I don't know. You look Virginian. I guess
Virginian."
But he is in Kansas City. I'm like, in my mind, he's in Virginia.
Is there a Kansas City, Virginia? I had no idea.
No, there is not. Okay. But in my mind, apparently there is. Yeah.
But all this kind of intermeshing of people and Brain Damage in San Francisco is doing lots of stuff these days. Yeah, it's wild, all the different people that I've encountered over the last, year and a half, 2 years now? A year and a half, let's say.
Yes.
And and all from just kind of this interaction of you being a guest, and then somewhat of me being a guest as well. So it's fascinating. And do you think that your experience being on all these different things has been helpful for you in kind of getting your message out?
Actually, yeah, it has. There's been a lot of new people signing up as a result of being a guest on podcast. And my intention of putting it out there was, spreading the word, getting people familiar, and then getting content that I could share and help spread the word, sharing those clips, sharing that, doing those things. So it's a pleasant surprise when it actually turns into people who sign up on Plausible, and then I see them on Plausible doing things. And I think that's just really cool. I'm like, wow, I didn't ask them to sign up for my newsletter. I just said, hey, if you want to come enjoy comedy or try comedy or try podcasting or whatever you want to do on Plausible, be my guest. And they have. And so it was a easy offer to share with people. And I think for me, podcasting has been a really enjoyable way of putting the word out there and meeting a lot of different people, being a guest on other people's podcasts, because each podcast reaches a different demographic, like those real estate people you were talking about, or
all the poor real estate people that I've been,
So yeah, it's been really fun because it gives me an opportunity to extend my reach into various places that I wouldn't otherwise have access to.
Well, so we've been talking about Plausible, but you should give everybody the primer. I know, and I, know a lot about it too. But if somebody stumbles upon this, you should give them, what the primer is for Plausible, so that they'll understand. We just keep saying this word.
It's a magic place. It's a live online comedy platform. So if you go to plausible.com, you can either create a fan account or a comedian account. Think of it as like an Etsy for comedy. So on one side, you have comedians creating all the comedy, and it's live in real time. online, so the comedian can see and hear the audience, and the audience can see and hear each other and the performer. And so when the fan creates an account, they can go in and look at the talent directory to see what kind of comedians are on there. You can look at the show, all the upcoming events, and sort by show, open mic, classes, podcast, and see what kind of event you want to see. They appear in chronological order, meaning the one that's happening soonest appears first, and they happen in real time. So it's not video on demand where you just watch it whenever you want. You log in because everybody's showing up at the same time, and you can see and hear each other, which is super important for comedy, is to get in real time response rather than like putting something out there and then coming back 5 hours later to see if someone liked it. I like a lot of things, I'm going to be honest, and I don't listen to the whole video. You know what because so you don't really know if people are listening, if they're laughing, if, that kind of thing.
Immediate feedback.
Yep.
And I always tell people, especially for me, if they come whenever I'm on there, you're going to be part of the show unless I don't like you for some reason, or you don't want to be. And so there's that. Everything in the middle is an open field between those two things. And so, yeah, you're part of the show. That's what I always, and I always tell people, be part of the show. I mean, that's all the fun of it, right? It's the media interactive stuff that, that you can enjoy rather than just, I don't know. What do you want? So my analogy would be, and this is not a good analogy, I'm not a sports person per se, but I don't like to watch sports. I want to, if I'm going to do something, then I'm going to be in the sport. I don't want to be the person who's watching the sport.
Yep.
I have never understood people on Twitch watching people play video games. I'm like, I'll play the video game. I'm not watching you play it.
Right.
That's my whole thing. And that's what this is interactive comedy where you can be in it. You can be in the comedy. You don't have to be, you don't have to do a whole set. You don't have to have a bunch of prepared material. You can just be in the audience, and it's like being in the audience. You want to heckle, you can heckle. You can interact. You can, answer questions from, whoever's putting on the show. And it's, that's the best thing about it, is it's not a sideline thing.
Right. It is engaging and interactive if the person chooses to do so. And I think, because people are before we launch, people are like, well, is it live? Like what? And I'm like, you'll see. And, and the thing is it's like, it's more, kids are like, you can't replace in person. And I'm like, I'm not trying to replace in person. I don't think we can replace in person. There's a essence to being in the same room with somebody, but I can create a new experience. And this one is, someone join our room with a booty.
No. That was another person I had on. I was trying to put this up there. I didn't type it in yet. Sorry.
I'm like, what are you trying to say? I was like, wait a minute.
Mike Booty was my last guest, and I had his name. I was trying to type it in. I clicked the wrong button. See, I'm click happy. I was putting the heart. There was a heart next to Mike Booty, and I was clicking that heart.
So plausible doesn't replace in person, but it bridges a gap. And I think on social media, there's still that fourth wall. Like, you can't break it because you're not seeing and hearing in real time responses, but plausible provides that opportunity that you have that. And it's very intimate, and people go, wow, this feels very inclusive. Like, I feel very part of, and also it's not set up like Zoom in the sense, like, I leave feeling like I just spent 2 hours with Bob from accounting. It's not, it's not like that. So it's different.
How'd you know I'm in accounting now?
Well, Mike, I was going to say Bob Booty, but it's
Bob Booty. Yeah. Bob's Booty's in accounting.
He's a pirate.
He's a pirate. Yeah.
Booty.
No, Mike is a philosopher.
Okay.
I'll put him that way. I don't know. That's why I call him. He's philosopher.
He's getting a lot of plugs here on
Yeah, no, I was just saying,
this episode is sponsored by
go by his name.
Mike Booty Accounting.
Yeah, he. But no, it's really fascinating, and it's really great to have that immediate interaction. So I wanted to make sure people knew that. So back to our topic du jour, being a guest and so forth. So if people wanted you to be their guest, I mean, obviously I put the plausible.com up there. What would be the best way for them to get a hold of you?
They should find me on plausible.com. There's a contact us form, or they can reach me on LinkedIn, Leanne Linsky.
Oh, on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
I know I've done that too. There, I was going to say, do you do that on Instagram?
Yeah, I do that on Instagram. Yep.
Okay.
All my social media is at plausible. So there's a lot of doors and windows available.
I don't know if you want people climbing in through your doors and windows.
Well, depends on time of day, sense. I suppose. Yeah. It
depends on the time of day.
Well, it does, because I turn things off after a certain hour most of the time, because otherwise it's overwhelming,
That's too funny. Okay. Well, but Leanne, you're such a great guest. I would say you're the best guest myself.
Thanks.
But then again, Mike Booty is a pretty good guest too.
Well, you haven't seen my booty.
Hey, now, wait a minute.
My booty. Oh, Mike. It sounded like you said booty. My booty.
No, Mike. Yeah, Mike's the Midnight Citizen, folks. But anyway, the
another plug for Mike.
Yeah, I love Mike. Mike's a good guy. But if they wanted to, they go to plausible.com. They can go at plausible on most of the socials, if not all of them, and go through LinkedIn, and have Leanne on to talk about her thing. What are you laughing about now, Leanne?
I just said we were plugging Mike Booty, and then I was like, had so many jokes.
Oh my gosh. Mike's gonna watch this and he's gonna be so angry with me now. Your slip-ups are causing me lots of problems.
What's his business? Accounting? Philosophy.
He's a philosopher
of accounting.
He's not an accountant. He's actually he's a teacher, I think.
Oh, okay. Everybody's looking up. I need my taxes done.
I need my taxes. Yeah, you're late at this point.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess they'll grace you in for this week, but yesterday was the day, I think. So, but yeah, if you need your taxes done, Leanne can help you with that. She can hook you up with a good accountant.
Also, Podmatch should.
Oh, there you go.
Are they sponsoring you yet?
No, they're not. I got a whole story about Podmatch. I'll tell you later. But that's you need a guest. Here's a guest. What more do you want?
Right, I'm right here.
Yeah, and then if you like, this is first class guest, and then if you want steerage, you can give me a call.
Steerage?
Yeah, it's a whole cruise liner from the turn of the century's term.
I was like, storage? But what? Is that a Midwest? I'm from the Midwest and I don't call it storage.
It'd be like Titanic, Titanic, there's first class, right? There's second class. And then steerage is when they just stuff you in with all the baggage.
Is it steerage or is it storage?
I think it's steerage.
Steerage, probably.
That's another show we're doing. All about steerage.
That sounds like real estate and steerage.
There you go. Thanks, Leanne.
If you need topics on real estate, steerage, or mechanical things.
Really? Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know you were mechanically inclined.
I'm not.
Oh, okay. And then everything else, call Mike Booty.
Yes. And did I totally destroy your ending to your show?
No.
Oh, well, let's try it again. I'll do it again.
Not at all. But hang on just a second.